Good morning, and can I issue a very, very warm welcome to Take a Break 2025. My name's Tony Stockman. For my sins, I'm the chair of the trustees of TAVIP. I'd like to thank you all for braving the weather conditions. We came up a day early, the trustees, to have an away day and brainstorm about the future and so on Thursday. And I know when we left Stafford, every train, it seemed, was either cancelled or late. So I got a better feel for what many of you will have put up with yesterday. But anyway, it's fantastic you're all here. It's been great to see many familiar people last night and many new people as well. So that's brilliant. We've got a total of 71 people at the conference, which is a record. And we are hoping to continue to grow that. In terms of the membership of TAVIP, we've seen growth of roughly 100 members in the last year, going from 500 to 600. So things are on the up. We're very pleased with how things are turning out. But at the same time, we can't rest on our laurels. So we'd be really appreciative of your feedback as the weekend goes forward, of particular sessions or overall housekeeping arrangements and so on. So do let us know what you think and what you prefer more of, what you'd like less of, and so on as we go forward. I'd like to thank the presenters. I think we've got a terrific set of presentations to come over the next couple of days, and also the exhibitors. One of the nice things about the TAVIP exhibition is that it's relatively small, but you tend to be able to get a bit longer with devices because it's not as kind of packed out as Site Village and other larger exhibitions. So please make the most of that. And finally, from me for now, I'd like to issue a special thanks to Guide Dogs for providing us with this really outstanding audio-visual setup. It seems to be working well at the moment. Various people have been doing tests over the last day or so. Seems to be good. So thank you so much for that. It's great to have your support. Okay, so onwards to the first session of the day, which is going to be a panel session led by Mark Owen, looking at where tech is leading us.
Okay, are we on? Morning. My little box isn't, well, it is now. That's right. Is that okay? It's really strange actually, because normally at this point we're on the floor scrambling around with various bits of cables, making sure that mics and everything are working. So it's wonderful again to have the support of the team at the back of the room who are making all of this wonderful stuff work. So thank you again. So welcome to Take a Break. A couple of quick bits of housekeeping for anyone that's joining us just today as a day delegate. We are not expecting any fire alarms, so if the fire alarm does go, our route out of this area takes us left towards the main entrance, and then at the reception right out into the area at the front of the hotel. In terms of other practicalities, just a quick rundown in terms of this morning before we get started on this. We've got this presentation at 9, and then we're going to have a presentation looking at Braille 200. That'll take us up to 10:30. At 10:30, we will have our coffee break, okay? So just to ask people, and I will remind everyone again, when we get to the coffee break, if you could just remain in your seats if at all possible, unless people want to go out to have a comfort break. We will serve coffee and tea at your seat. It'll just make it a little bit easier with the volume of people that we have with us here today. Okay? So, 9 o'clock. Or 9:02. That's not bad, is it? And welcome to the first session. What we're hoping to do is just have a panel or a fireside discussion, and I want to ease you all into the morning and into the conference. And essentially, we've got Stuart Lawler from Sight and Sound Technology. We've got my fellow trustees, Paul Porter and David Quarmby. And we just sat here really having a discussion. We're at a table in a bar, and And you see, we get in the mood. And we're just reflecting, really, and looking forward as well in terms of technology. So when we're thinking about technology, we're looking at both assistive technology and mainstream technology in the wider sense as well. So I'd like to start with you, Stuart, because it's great to have you at Take a Break. And it's under a year since our last one. It was last October, actually, so it's just 11 months. And I'm just wondering, what's been your tech highlight during that last 11 months?
Yeah, good morning, Mark, and good morning, everyone. It's absolutely great to be here for the weekend, and really looking forward to meeting lots of people throughout the day and tomorrow. I suppose one of the things I've been thinking a lot about, and we're talking about Braille 200, and we're going to have a presentation on that later from Jackie, is the way in which multi-line Braille is becoming a little more realistic. And I say that in that, multi-line Braille displays have been around for a while, but they've been somewhat abstract, I think, when we've looked at them, because we haven't been able to really think about how they might fit into our daily workflow. And now with the advent of screen readers starting to support things like the DotPad and the Monarch, and there'll be others, I think, very soon, we're beginning to see how this stuff can really fit into our day-to-day use of technology and screen reading. So as we sort of come to the end of 200 years of Braille, I'm very excited to sort of see where that tech is going to lead us.
And Paul?
Thank you. Hello, good morning, everyone. It's great to see so many friends and colleagues from the past. I think for me, it's kind of a bit AI related, but specifically Gemini, which you can run on your iPhone or Android phone, whatever it might be, and the live function where you can have a conversation, you can share your camera, you can also share your screen. So it might, in some cases, help with identifying issues on the screen that your screen reader wouldn't pick up. And someone yesterday mentioned the ability to be able to scan an image on your screen and have it tell you, for example, where something might be on a map, or maybe reading a menu that might be purely graphical. So I think there's lots of ways we can use technology, but it's thinking outside the box, and it's also, using it in ways that you might not have imagined. And we all share information, and going forward, sharing information and looking at exciting ways to use technology. And of course, remember, this is mainstream technology, so mainstream is becoming even more part of what we do. And we've had that for a while, things like phones and so on. And there is still a place for specialist devices, I would say, definitely. But it's great that we can just pick up a device or an app and use it out of the box.
Thank you, Paul. And over to you, David.
Well, good morning, everyone. I think for me, it would be smart glasses at the moment, and the way smart glasses can be used to access lots of the information around you that you don't normally get access to. And it's that potential, and it's the range that's coming very quickly now, because there's different smart glasses, and it becomes quite challenging. And the fact that it's affordable, and people can actually access that technology, and they wouldn't normally be able to. The Envision AI glasses were much too costly for a lot of people. The Occams were. But now we've got real choices to make. Do we go for the Echo Vision? Do we go for the Ally Solus smart glasses? Or do we stick with the mainstream Meta Ray-Bans, or the Oakleys, or the new Meta Ray-Bans? And then we've got the Google XR and the Samsung, and there's still talk of the Apple smart glasses coming late 26, 27. And if that links to the apps on your phone, look at the potential that it is, as long as it stays inclusive, because things have got to be inclusively designed so that we can all use them.
So there's lots and lots of things happening then. So Stuart, what do you think are the challenges then and also opportunities within the technology landscape?
Yeah, I think there are two, and I hope you don't mind me taking two. One maybe point to speak to Paul's comment about AI, because I think everybody's talking about AI, and in particular the live stream offered by apps like Gemini, and I think Copilot has it as well now with Copilot Vision. I completely agree with Paul. One of the things I think is a challenge, though, is to get accurate information from AI. So sometimes with AI, if it tells you something and you say, well, no, that's not correct, and it straight away says, yes, I'm sorry, you're right, it's not correct. And I think when we're using video streaming, we want to be dead sure that that technology is telling us, is there a parked car in front of me? Is there a step in front of me? We want to be very sure that the information we're getting is correct. So I want to see that technology mature a little bit, I suppose. But I think obviously there's an opportunity, a huge opportunity, because it's very liberating and can give us independence that I suppose we haven't had before. And the second thing, I suppose, is the one that a lot of people talk about, and that's the software updates and making sure that the specialist assistive tech is keeping up to date with mainstream. So if you have a Microsoft Office update or a Windows update, how does that impact on your screen reader or your screen magnification program, and how we can make sure that users are supported to keep up to date, and how the sector as a whole, I suppose, can do that. And I think there are challenges because of a multitude of factors, I suppose, including price, and including the rate at which updates in the mainstream are coming out, and to some degree the assistive software vendors are always trying to catch up. And I think that's going to be something that we need to be very aware of.
And yourself, Paul, the challenges and opportunities?
Yeah, and so there's lots of opportunities with AI, particularly for people who are maybe not technically minded in the first instance, or just find technology a challenge. And of course, it started off with Alexa in 2016, where people could, and it basically gave us a level playing field for people who are blind and partially sighted, because it was all done by voice. There's no screen involved, and that's developed. And Amazon and other smart speaking companies are bringing in AI with large language models, which means that, in theory, you'll be able to have a much more in-depth conversation to get more information from the devices. But the pitfalls that we've seen over the last few years is that Amazon, for example, seem to be going towards back to devices with screens. So you might ask it a question, and it'll put the information up on the screen. And you can access the screen with voice through with the screen reader, but it doesn't make it a purely hands-free experience. So my worry is that with devices like Alexa devices and Google Home devices and so on, that it then goes back to more screen output, voice input, but a lot of information be displayed on the screen. And you could almost extract that out to using the glasses. It might be that, you ask a question, your glasses sees what's happening, but your glasses then might have a screen eventually. So we have to make sure that the information is able to be spoken back to us automatically without having to revert to touching your screen. Yeah. And the other quick thing is that COVID was terrible, but one thing that it did do was got people involved in technology who had never thought of getting involved in technology, using Zoom to communicate with people and WhatsApp and so on. And hopefully people will keep up using the technology, because no matter what we do in life, technology can help tremendously.
Thank you. And to you, David.
I think I agree with exactly what both Stuart and Paul have said. There are great challenges in terms of AI, But, you know, if you think that human beings, if we do something wrong, you know, we might do it wrong again. Whereas AI, if you correct it, it's more likely to get it right. So it's that, as long as we keep correcting it, hopefully things will get better and become much more reliable. And that will allow us to be able to do the things that we want to be able to do. There are other opportunities, and it all comes back to ensuring that our voice is heard, that we're involved in the design and it's inclusively designed so that our access requirements are uppermost in terms of how things are. And we know that doesn't happen in real life at the moment. You know, when we look at the visual displays that we get faced with, you know, at the doctors, at the hospitals, you know, the kiosks that we can't use, etc. But AI can revolutionise our access into being able to use those things as long as our voice is heard and we're taken in. You know, our requirements are inclusive into that process. So we've got to make sure it is. And, you know, Apple, from sort of 2009 onwards, have been very good at making sure that you've got access both by screen reader, magnification, and all the other diverse requirements in terms of that. You know, look at the accessibility features in there. So if they keep their commitment into that, and other people do follow that in terms of Samsung and Android, it does offer a good future for us being able to continue being able to get around safely and access the information that we need to do to ensure that we are independent. I suppose another factor is making sure that we keep easy to use interfaces involved as well, because not everybody can use all the various gestures and things. So it's making sure that things are easy to use. And the natural language process models of the personal assistants, that voice interaction could actually make things so easy for us to use. And the smart glasses, we might be replaced with a piece of hardware that we can talk to and take around with us, and it can book us tickets, can do all sorts of things by voice.
So I'll keep with you, David, and I'll ask you, what developments are you most excited about?
I suppose one of the ones I am is not really well known at this moment in time, and that's visible light communication. And it's the way AI can interface with visible light communication. And it's basically around us all the time in terms of the LED lighting that we get everywhere. And that has the potential to be able to communicate data so fast that it increases the ability to get that information that we need and get us around safely. It can actually allow us to move within 2 centimetres of where we need to be in terms of indoors. And that is being used by NASA. It's being used in some German supermarkets. But that technology linked with AI, if it is developed, has real potential for access for visually impaired people.
What really excites you, Paul? What about yourself? What are you most excited about?
I think AI voice generation, and I guess there's 2 areas that it could be helpful. People who have lost the ability to speak. There was an article on Radio 4, I think it was the Today programme. I think a lady had motor neuron disease and couldn't speak, but they managed to get quite a good appropriation of her voice from 8 seconds of video that was taken 25 years ago. So if you can do that, you know, and you can do it on iOS, you can record a number of phrases, and then you can have your own voice as one of the voiceover voices, which is a bit spooky. Yeah. The other area that could be useful would be producing really high quality voices for recording audio, be it audiobooks or material. And that's got great potential, but the pitfall to that, someone could clone your voice, and it's happened already. Someone could clone your voice and have a conversation to scam somebody. So there's lots of exciting developments, but there can be also I guess be unforeseen consequences. But and I guess something we haven't touched on is data protection. When you're using all these systems, you're giving lots of information. But I guess the bottom line is, if you don't want to share information, then you kind of almost have to be off-grid these days. But I think the future's really exciting. And just one other quick thing, the development of Braille is very exciting, multi-line. But wouldn't it be wonderful if one day we could have Braille on our touchscreens and it just comes up when you need it, and you could be totally independent in terms of what sort of devices you're carrying around.
Well, there's a thought. And Stuart?
Yeah, I think I'm excited about the whole developments around accessible travel, be it GPS, be it some of the maybe newer aids we're seeing. And I know that the Guide Dogs colleagues are going to talk a little bit about this later on, but things like Biped, Noah's Biped, WeWalk, HumanWare's new Stellar Trek, and I suppose the Capsies device, which we'll launch a little bit later. But I'm also excited in sort of how GPS and AI, I suppose, to come back to some of what my colleagues here have said, how that can really work. So how many of us have used GPS maybe to navigate right to the door of the bank and then find out you're walking into the chemist because you haven't got to the bank? And it's that granularity of just getting to the very spot you need to get to. You could be 2 doors away and you're walking around frantically looking for the door. And I'm looking for the time when we can get there. And I suppose now you can start using AI to take pictures of, am I at the bank? Am I at the chemist? Am I at the supermarket? When that technology continues to develop, I think it's going to be a game changer for us.
And it feels like we're on the edge of many things, doesn't it? And I think what's been great about this panel discussion, and I will pose you all one final question in a moment, but I'll sum up just for a moment or so now. I think what's been great about this panel discussion is that it's highlighted so many of the different things that you'll be hearing about throughout the course of this weekend, because so many things that have been mentioned here will be linked to and will be developed both in presentations and in the discussions that we're all going to have. And I'm sure what you've all been saying will generate many discussions, both within the presentations, but also informally throughout the weekend for you all as well. But as we move into the closing stages, Stuart, I'm going to give you a magic wand, and I'm going to say one thing. What would you most like to see created?
When you sent me these questions about 10 days ago, Mark, I remember thinking, I was really interested. I spent 10 days walking around thinking about your questions. One of the things, and the big thing, and I suppose I see it so much, and I think a lot of us in this room probably see it so much, is I wish there was less of a digital divide. I think there's still an awful lot of people who are digitally excluded. And Julian, who is in the room, and myself and some other colleagues took part in a Radio 4 program about a year and a half ago, I think now, which was talking about the need for training, I suppose, and what training was available for people with sight loss who needed to use technology. And I've often thought about that because I feel we never really resolved it. And there's so many people for whom technology works really well, but there's so many people who need that technology and who struggle to use it and for whom it would make such a difference. And it's not even price, it's just time and expertise and people to show them how to use it. And we don't want that digital divide to grow more. So I wish we didn't have a digital divide, Mark.
Excellent. I could not agree with you more. Paul?
Yeah, absolutely, 100% agree. But I think, and it should be possible, but to be able to go somewhere like a railway station or a hotel or an airport, and you find if you go to an airport, you have to be there early. You book assistance to take you somewhere. You sit down for 2 hours, kind of almost stranded. So to be able to walk around and have AI tell you, you've got books on your left, you've got W.H. Smith on your right, you're approaching gate 22, or, and you could potentially navigate independently. And I know there are services where you can Be My Eyes or, different systems where you can phone up and speak to people. But to be able to do it independently, to have a system that is able to robustly tell you, you've got obstacles, but what's around you in terms of shops and services and so on. And of course, it comes back to the point of having very accurate GPS, because there's nothing worse than getting somewhere and you've got, you're 5 or 10 metres away from where you want to be. The technology is there because NASA and the American military have pinpoint precision GPS, but they don't allow it for us mere mortals. But so the technology is available, but yeah, pinpoint accuracy for GPS, but also really good robust systems that tell you where you are and what's around you. And I think, as we all agree, do it in a safe way.
I think it's coming. The miniaturization of things, the fact that the improvements in battery, it's all there. And I'd like to be able to access the wealth of information around me, the bits that I want, and be selective and be able to do that. And I agree with Stuart, the digital divide is a big issue, but I think, the natural language processing model, when that becomes much better, much more accurate, with the development of software like inner search and the way that can be used to be able to access flights and do that by your voice, that integration of the software and hardware together will allow us to be able to get at some of that and make it much more easy for us to use and get around. And the GPS, like I was saying with the visible light communication, the LD, it's not going to be costly because we use LED lights around us all the time, and that can give us some of that accuracy if the military will allow us to get the pinpoint accuracy we need. So there are the ways there, and it's within the next sort of 2 years what's going to be there, what's going to be there in 5 years' time. It's moving at such a pace now, you can almost grasp what you want, but it's not there. And it comes back, can we trust it? We've got to always be aware of the concerns that are around AI. I did a chat GPT search on what are all the AI concerns, and it came up with about various headings, but 32 issues of genuine concerns about AI. And it's always going to be there. There's always going to be we can be positive about what we can use it for and the good things about it, but there's all the bad things that it's there as well, and they're going to continue. So, the challenges, opportunities, we're going to be ongoing.
So I'm sure we're all good, and lots and lots of food for thought in that first panel discussion, and it's the first one we've done at Take a Break. So I do really hope that you've all got a great deal out of it. So much to think about, so many opportunities, some measured challenges there as well. But can I say thank you, and can you all join me in thanking our panellists?